Let's see it, opponent. Don't slow roll us. Do what you gotta do. No way that we stole this game, right? No way that we stole this game, am I right? Hello and welcome, guys. We are here for match 3 with our Valakut Awakening Amulet deck here. We are currently 1-1 after savagely losing to humans in the last round. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, then go check it out. And speaking of going and checking it out, if you're interested in a deck tech of this list and how we arrived at the numbers of the cards that you see on screen and what exactly is going on here, what's changed from previous lists, then go ahead and check out match 1. That is where you'll find that information. I will not be going over that here. And yeah, with that said, let's jump straight into the games. All right, let's hop on in here. Playing against Knight of the Knee. This might, in fact, be a reference to the Monty Python movie, Quest for the Holy Grail. A very funny movie, in my personal opinion. We have a Stirrings, and we have some Ramp. We have explosives that could be anywhere from amazing to completely dead. But we at least get to cast Stirrings on one. We're on the draw, and this hand's a bit slow, but I feel like it's just close enough to be a keep, especially if we find a bounce land off the Stirrings. So I am going to keep it. Not super thrilled, but I mean, Garen Brig means that we only need to find an additional 2 mana sources, or a single bounce land, I think, would even allow us to do the things that we want to here. I am going to go ahead and throw out the Vestige here. Stirrings. Playing in Spirebluff Canal. Hopefully this is blue-red prowess of some sort, and not Storm. And we did, in fact, find that bounce land that I was theorizing about. The fact that our opponent had no 1-mana play makes me think this is more likely Storm. Manamorphose, okay. Well, maybe not. Maybe they just kept a Stormwing Entity hand. Which is still not great for us. Yep, there's the Stormwing Entity. Whew. A 2-mana 3/3 flyer that lets them scry 2 and has prowess. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're facing down. Valakut, huh? Well, I mean, I guess we're just playing the Stomping Ground tapped and passing it back. Not much else that we can do here. Our very slow turn 3 Azusa or Dryad is not stacking up well against this Stormwing. Probably better to play the Dryad, since the turn after we have Dryad, we can trigger Valakut, since we do have the Valakut naturally in hand here. We'll see, though. We may not even get the chance to get to our 5th turn. 4th turn? 4th turn. We'll see. Maybe one Stormwing is not enough to kill us. Likely it is, but we'll see. Our opponent is just over here throwing 3 Manamorphoses at us. I mean, that's a thing they could be doing. At least they only have 1 prowess creature in play. Otherwise, this would be 2 damage per Manamorphose. Double Lava Dart. We'll be at 16. It's 9. Not quite dead. Our opponent is going all in on the Lava Dart plan here, though. Mutagenic Growth, okay. 11. So we're at effectively 5 life here, including the Lava Dart, and we'll see if our opponent fires off Lava Dart. Is this sacrifice a mountain? Oh, so they couldn't actually flash back this Lava Dart. We do have a Summoner's Pact. We're dead in 2 turns to this entity, though. We're dead next turn if they have a bolt. Okay. Well, I mean, we can play Garen Brig, Dryad, Valakut, and then the turn after we would have Sunhome and to activate Garen Brig Titan. Like, I mean, I guess that's what we got. Pass it back. If we survive this turn, we might actually have a win. Likelihood is we're not going to survive this turn. Just letting you know now. Unless our opponent plays a 1-drop creature here. That would actually be great for us. We would block and probably lose our Dryad. No, if they have a bolt, then they just kill us. So, oh yeah, this is great. We actually might have a chance to win now. Our Titan can come into play and get a Valakut and a Vesuva copying Valakut, and then we have a land drop after. So we'd have 6 triggers plus 2 more is 8 triggers to kill our opponent for sure from our Valakut. So, okay. Okay. Let's hope our opponent has nothing else relevant. Let's just go to 1 here exactly. Hey! Did we steal a game this way? No way that we stole this game, right? No way that we stole this game, am I right? This is just downright dirty. We are definitely about to do this, though. Activate Primeval Titan into play. Man, I can't believe we're not dead. And not dead is the exact same as just straight up winning here. So, game 2. Save targets. Always yes. Always yes. Always. Oh. Always yes. Always yield. Oh. 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 Ah. Had to do it to him. We're just too good. We are just too good. I think we want all of the explosives for their 1-drops and for also the Sprite Dragon that they could have access to. Obstinate Baloth for a little extra life gain buffer for sure. Tireless Tracker I do not like against their burn spells that just kill it on the spot, as a 4-drop is kind of slow. Guttural Response could hit Aether Gust specifically if they have that, and everything else in their deck is a red spell pretty much, so not really impressed by Guttural Response here. I'd rather just play into 1 Aether Gust and then Slam Jam again the next turn. Might eat those words, but we'll find out. Valakut Awakening seems a little slow here, so I'm going to trim down on that. Summoner's Pact, don't really want to be tapping out the turn after we cast this. Bog is relevant against a Bedlam Reveler, but I don't think they play that, so I'm going to trim it. Don't even think we need this Cavern, but I don't really feel like cutting it, so Azusa can go, as it does just die to random bolt-type effects before we can even necessarily get our full value out of it, although there are ways to play around that. I'm willing to cut 1. Maybe a second Awakening. Awakening's not super impressive here. Stirrings can go, as we're trying to spend as little time spinning our wheels as possible. And 1 other card, huh? Maybe we could trim 1 Talaria West. Again, we're not really chaining Titans in this matchup, so I think this is fine. Is 4 Engineered Explosives a lot? Yes. Yes, it is. Alright. So we have a hand with lands, Engineered Explosives, Obstinate Baloth. Don't know how this Valakut Awakening will be performing for us with this hand, although all of our lands enter the battlefield tapped, which is kind of a problem. That said, we can play Explosives on 1 on our turn 2, and then blow it up on turn 3. I mean, is that really that great, though? I feel like we could do better. Especially if our opponent has a Stormwing hand, Explosives does nothing against that, and then we're very slow. I think we can afford to mulligan once. Right, this hand is a similar hand to the last one, but we actually have untapped sources here, so we're absolutely keeping this. And I feel like the bottom here is the Vesuva, and we're just hoping to top deck any bounce land or just run our land off the top. I am down for that. Now we can play Explosives on 1 on turn 1 and then blow it up on turn 2, which would be a lot better. There's our opponent's 1-drop, of course. I will say I think this 6 is way better than the 7 that we could have kept. There's a strict upside to mulliganing, and we did already find our bounce land too, so love it. Love it. We're playing out our Vestige here in the desperate hopes that we won't have to shock in our Stomping Ground if we find another untapped source here. But we may have to shock into Stomping Ground. Just saying that now. We might have to take 2 damage for that one. Play another 1-drop. Of course they wouldn't into the Explosives anyways, but still. Metamorphose, okay. Our opponent's beginning the chain of spells here. See if they have the Stormwing or not. They do have the Stormwing, which is not great for us. It's probably worth 2 life to get the Swift Spear out of play anyways. So, probably shocking Stomping Ground in, despite the fact they have a Stormwing in play. I mean, at the very least, it's worth 1 life, as that's the minimum that our opponent would be doing damage-wise to us from their Swift Spear here. And then the turn after, we could play Dryad into Bounce Land, picking up, say, the Garen Brig or the Vestige, and then immediately have Titan the turn after. So, yeah, we just have to not die to Stormwing like last time. Can we get a repeat of game 1? At least we're preventing our opponent from playing 1-drops this turn, pretty much. Like, if they had another Swift Spear and they wanted to just go all in on the prowess thing, that's why we wait on the explosives until their turn, because now they're extremely disincentivized from playing another 1-drop here pre-combat. Serum Visions, huh? Well, let's yield to these prowess triggers. We're about to take a huge chunk from the Stormwing. Yeah, there's nothing else to say about that. I suppose if we draw Dismember, we're not going to really be able to Dismember the Stormwing. I guess that's a downside to holding up the Explosives crack here instead of just playing a Bounce Land. But, whatever. We've already gained our 2 life back from the shock thanks to the fact that our opponent has a 2/3 Swift Spear. So, at the very least, we're neutral on advantage. And assuming our opponent has some more spells here, which I think is a pretty safe assumption, then we've actually gained life by shocking the Stomping Ground. So maybe it's fine. Stormwing is definitely their scariest card against us. Even scarier, I would say, than Sprite Dragon, because at least we can mop up Sprite Dragon with explosives on 2. Stormwing, that is not the case. Dismember or bust on this one. Alright, we'll let them attack. They'll probably cast some spells after we declare 0 blocks. Yeah, let's go ahead and pop this explosives. I mean, what else are we going to be doing? Take 4. That's fine. I like that. 4 is good. Our opponent might be holding up a Aether Gust, but who the heck plays around Aether Gust? I don't. Boom. Into play. Here's the Gust. There it is. We knew this. That guy can go on top, as we're not going to be able to cast Titan this upcoming turn anyways, even if we were to draw an Amulet, so might as well play Dryad before we get our Titan into play and hopefully kill our opponent all in one magnificent sweep of the Valakut triggers. We might just be dead, though, in all honesty. We're probably about to be forced into blocking their Swift Spear with our Dryad this upcoming turn. Well, our upcoming turn of our opponent's turns. You know what I mean. We might actually just be dead now. Down to 8. Yep, we're dead now. Cool. Not going to make our opponent attack. I apologize for some of the background noise that I am sure you can hear. There's not much that I can do about that. Do we want guttural responses to play around these Aether Gusts? I think not. I mean, even that turn, there was nothing we could have done to play around the Aether Gust. We either had to jam into it or just wait and, I guess, cast Valakut Awakening. I didn't think that waiting would be a good choice. So, better force them to have it, and they did have it. Yeah, I don't think I want to change anything. Alright, let's run it back. Grazer can chump block a Stormwing. That's worth noting. I mean, let's be honest. We had already survived an opponent's Stormwing entity in Game 1. There's no way we were going to do that again in Game 2, right? But maybe, just maybe, we'll get it ready to go in Game 3 here. Definitely on the play here. That's a very strong boon for us. We have a little slower of a hand, but it does have access to Dryad and Titan. And we can even leave a Bounce Land in play, so I think we have to keep this. We'd really like this Valakut to be any untapped source for turn 1. But, I mean, barring that, we'll just play out the hand. If we draw a Grazer off the top, then we can still Dryad on turn 2 and get a Chump Blocker. So, Grazer would definitely be our best top deck here. Opponent is choosing whether or not to mulligan here. Nothing quite helps you against the aggro decks like a turn 1 Amulet. Of course, now that I say that, it's going to get abraded on turn 2, but... Oh, wait, well, I mean, I guess it's not on turn 2, since we can't even play it turn 1 here. Anyways, you know what I mean. Amulet in play. Love it. Grazer off the top. Let's go. Grazer? Oh, so close. Could have been a Grazer. Who knows? Could be anything. Alright, let's get our Growth Chamber into play here. We'll pick up the Valakut and pass it back. Can't play a turn 2 Dryad here, sadly. We'll have to settle for the turn 3. But turn 4 Titan on the play is great against our opponent, considering that we are on the play. On the draw, this hand might have been a little too slow, and it might still be a little too slow, but we'll see. There's a Stormwing. That's not great. We might be able to outpace this, though, especially if we line up our Dryad for a block, although then we lose access to Valakut triggers from our Titan entering the battlefield, but that might be the price that we have to pay for not dying. And they bottom both cards, which is great news for us. Explosives, huh? Not really doing much on this board state, is it? Yeah, I think we're just playing this Dryad out. We can play explosives on one here, and I don't think it's a bad idea to just go ahead and get it into play, but don't really think that we'll be using it. We have Titan next turn, so do not kill us, opponent. Do not do it. Even if our opponent gusts our Dryad, we can still pack for Azusa, play Azusa, and then play land 3 times, play Titan. We wouldn't have the triggers, once again, but we would at least be able to attack for 8 and get some Radiant Fountain action. Don't think there's a Colony Garden in this list to generate a chump blocker for the Soulscar Mage, but at least we can block with a Titan itself. So and if our opponent doesn't have a Gust here, and we're not dead from 18 points of life, then we're looking pretty good. I guess they could Gust the Titan. That would be kind of devastating. Yeah, that would be pretty bad. I kind of feel like if our opponent has a Gust, they'll Gust the Dryad, though, so just to stop us from getting land drops ahead, being able to freely crack explosives, and, like, get another 3-drop into play or something if we didn't have Titan. I could see our opponent thinking through a line like that. I suppose there is actually some argument to just blocking here anyways, since we know that we have Azusa to cast Titan this upcoming turn anyways. So, like, losing the Dryad and losing our Valakut triggers may be worth occurring so that we can get Titan into play. But, I mean, the maximum life that we can gain from that exchange would be 2 from a single Radiant Fountain trigger off of the attack, since we have to get the 2 lands that we have to get for the haste, the Stronghold and the Garrison, so kind of an odd spot. Lava Dart the Dryad. That is definitely a way to start the turn. I mean, we could be dead. If we're not dead, who knows how we're doing. I guess at the end of our Titan sequence, we'll have the 2 mana to pop explosives and get rid of both of our opponent's 1-drops. So, I mean, we're taking a chunk, but not dead. That is the key point. And our opponent will have 2 cards left in hand with just a Stormwing, 3 cards once they draw for turn. So, I have no clue how much damage this is. We will see. 6, 10, 14. Still not dead. We'll be going to 3 and then up to 5 with the Fountain. So 2 spells or a single bolt like effect would kill us with the Stormwing in play, but I mean, not much we can do about that. It's a good thing we got this explosives out on 1 when we did. Otherwise, we'd be straight up dead. Alright, we have no choice but to pack for Azusa here. Let's go ahead and play a land drop out, just because it's a good habit to play your land drops as much as possible before you commit a creature like Dryad or Azusa. That way you get your land drop value at the very least. Here comes the Azusa. Into play. Turf. Now, I mean, there's actually no guarantee that we are surviving, but at least we can get a Titan into play. We'll pick up the Valakut here, I suppose. Titan. Always yield. Yup. We'll get the Garrison and the Stronghold. Too bad we don't have anything with reach in play to block this Stormwing. Oh, Grazer, where are you? We needed you. Right, we'll pick up the Stronghold, I suppose. Swing. Yep. We'll get Radiant Fountain. And any other land, I suppose. Don't think it really matters. I guess, I mean, Cavern doesn't do anything against potential Aether Gust. I'm not expecting any other counter magic, so maybe a Talari West makes sense, so we can, like, have some kind of line where we transmute for a Dryad and get some Valakut triggers at the end after, like, attacking, assuming that we survive. But, I mean, it probably doesn't matter. I'm just gonna get a Talari West. Let's gain our life here. And tell our opponent, if you have a bolt, then we are dead. Alright, we'll pass again, holding up the explosives so they can't just play a Swift Spear and do things like that. Our opponent's not going to stifle our explosives trigger here. They're not playing the bird. Nimble Obstructionist. I refuse to believe it. Show us the bolt. I'd love for them to crack Islet and then just go straight to combat here without having a bolt ready to go. Crack Islet, opponent. You know you want to. Just tap this one and tap that one. Well, sacrifice that one, I suppose. Yep. And then post-combat, play a Soulscar Mage. They go straight to combat. Okay, sure. Okay. Let's declare some blocks that do not matter in the slightest, as we are going to blow explosives here. Bolt or no bolt, opponent. Or Lava Dart even would do some damage here by hitting us with the Xaxes. Let's see it, opponent. Don't slow roll us. Do what you gotta do. They got something. Ugh, why were they slow rolling us? Yeah, we're just dead. Well, that was pretty close, I will admit. We were a little slow. Again, if this Valakut had been any untapped source to play our Amulet on 1 instead of on 2, we definitely would have won this game, in my opinion. But, I mean, there is a cost to having cards like Valakut and the Molten Pinnacle in your deck, and you just saw it here. So, regardless, we are currently 1-2. Not my most favorite record, but at the very least, we're getting some good information from this league. I'm starting to think that the 4th Explosives is a bit overkill, by the way. Might be a little overkill, but anyways, how could you know without trying it and seeing it in action? And speaking of seeing it in action, I will see you guys for the next match. Remember, if you liked everything that you saw here, or at least some of it, like, comment, subscribe. I respond to as many as I can, and I value each and every one of your voices in the comments below. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.